us that love is who I am. You and me were not that far apart. Yeah, we're beating the same heart. We've been together from the start. Oh yeah. Tell me, can you hear it? Tell me, can you feel it? Put your arms around it and know that we are one.
Welcome to A Course of Love.
Yeah, we are one.
Welcome to A Course of Love. Welcome to A Course of Love.
Now let's come together and understand that Christ was born inside of every man. He's waiting for us to choose him as ourselves. When you choose him, you know you choose me too. And everyone becomes a part of you. And then you know that love is who I am. You and me were not that far apart. Yeah, we're beating the same heart. We've been together from the start. Tell me, can you hear it?
Can you hear it?
Tell me, can you feel it? Put your arms around it and know that we are one.
Welcome to A Course of Love
Yeah, we are one.
on Facebook Live with Earl Purdy.
We are one.
It's so good to be with you right now. Welcome to A Course of Love. I'm Earl Purdy, and this is a sacred time of joining and loving and being. And I'm so glad to be here with you, mighty companion. You are a total blessing in my life. This is a class for the heart. It's not for the analytical mind. If you're here to analyze, you might be disappointed. We get together on Thursdays, live on Facebook, to love and feel each other, and
You and me were not that far apart. Yeah, we're beating the same heart. We've been together from the start. Tell me, can you hear it? Tell me, can you feel it? Put your arms around it and know that we are one.
welcome to A Course of Love. Welcome to A Course of Love.
We are one.
Welcome to A Course of Love.
Yeah, we are one.
I'm so glad to be here with you.
Oh, we are one.
I can feel your sacred being.
I am you.
I am you,
And you are me.
and you are me. Welcome to A Course of Love. I can feel you. I can feel you. Don't forget, we're doing this live. So comment, communicate with me, communicate with each other. I can see the comments. I'll respond when I can. I am so glad that we meet together every week like this, because I want to know that I'm connected to my MCs, my mighty companions. Do you know that's what we are? We're mighty companions. And it feels good to be doing A Course of Love with you. A Course of Love with you. Channeled by Mari Perron. A Course of Love. It is to the heart what A Course in Miracles is to the mind. It is about joining our hearts with our minds and becoming completely wholehearted. And tonight, remember, you don't have to believe these ideas. You don't have to accept or welcome these ideas. Some of these ideas you're going to find hard to believe, and some of these ideas you're going to find quite startling. I'm not asking you to judge these ideas at all, analyze these ideas at all. Why? Why? Because it's the use of these ideas. It's using these ideas that will give these ideas meaning to you and show you that the ideas are true. Tonight's A Course of Love is chapter 8 in the first treatise. Chapter 8, Incarnation and Resurrection. Incarnation and Resurrection. Incarnation and Resurrection. It's going to be, I'm using my Kindle, so I'll look in the book. It's going to be on page 225. On page 225. On page 225. Page 225. So I want to bring this to life. I want to bring A Course of Love to life. I want these words to come to life. And it's so good to see all of you online. Mark and Gemma and Ricardo and C and Janet and Andrea and Nancy and Mufasa and Olga and Jenny and all the rest of you. We have a lot of mighty companions that tune in online. I want to invite you to share the video. Right next to where you can make a comment, it gives you the option of sharing the video. I am asking for your help and your support in sharing A Course of Love throughout your timelines. That would really help us be a part of the healing of the planet and a conduit. Hello, Jenny. All right. Now, this starts off. Now, some of you may not know it, but the Course of Love. A Course of Love is what we call a channel book, which means that a presence in the consciousness outside of this realm is using someone within this realm to give us a message. And in this case, it's Jesus. Not the Jesus of any fear that we learned as a child, maybe, but a whole nother level. And so I'm going to share what he's saying because there's a message. And then what we want to look for is the message. What is the message that Spirit is giving us? And he says, I was proclaimed to be the Word incarnate. What is that? I was proclaimed to be the union of the human and the divine. You are a combination of the divine and human, and so was Jesus. Jesus told us right here in the book, I have told you that you are no different than I was. So Jesus is saying to us, you are no different than Jesus was. So the first thing we want to do is get that we are not different from the Christ. You are not different from Jesus. You are not different from the divine. All the attributes of God, all the attributes of God, all the attributes of love, you have those attributes. There is no difference between you and Jesus. And there's one request in that first paragraph. That one request is, now I call you to be no different than I am. Everything is telling us it's now time for us to claim our true inheritance as being a combination of the divine and the human. We are gods in human form. We are all gods. Now, if you are God by yourself, now you got a little bit of an issue. But if you are God and everyone else is God and everything else is God, now that's right on. So how can you tell if you are saying you are God and it's coming from your ego? If it's coming from your ego, it excludes everyone else, and you are God all alone, and that's a little bit too special. So you are divine, and so you are being called to be no different than Jesus was. You're being called to be no different than Buddha and every other great spiritual master. It's time for you to claim it for yourself. It's time for you to claim your masterhood. And then A Course of Love goes on, and Jesus says, as a man, I suffered, died, and was buried. That sounds pretty familiar. That seems like that's not too unusual, that as a man, he suffered, he died, and he was buried. But as who I am, I resurrected. I'm going to say something to you because I want to say some outrageous things that might jar your memory, Raj, so that you will remember who you really are, mighty companion. And it's this. It looks like you died, but you really don't die. You are going to be resurrected. I don't know when you're going to go through the thing called death. I don't know when you're going to go through the experience that we call death. But I'd like to inform you that you are going to survive death. You are going to be resurrected. When you die, you won't die. When you so-called die, you will not die. You will resurrect. Just like Jesus resurrected, you are going to resurrect. As a matter of fact, Jesus said, I am the resurrection and the life. Your life is a resurrection. You died to something else before you came here. You experienced a death in terms of whatever your experience was before you came here. So your very physical life is resurrection. The fact that you are even alive right now is resurrection. And Jesus says, what I was in life was the manifestation in form of the will of God. So remember that Jesus told us, now what you got to do is you got to see yourself as being no different from me. Okay? So that means you, I'll say this again, you in life are the manifestation in form, in a body, of the will of the Creator. You are a manifestation in the body of God's will. You are God's will. You are the will of love. You are the will of the Creator manifesting in a physical body. Okay? You are God manifesting as you in a physical body. You are the will of God. You are the thought of God. You are the mind of God. You are the love of God. You are God and God's will manifested in a physical body. That's what I'm looking at right now. I might be tempted to call it. Now when I say you are, now when you look at me right now, you're looking at my body. Okay? My body isn't me. My body isn't me. The body that you're looking at, that's not me. This, when you say Earl Purdy and you look at this isn't me. This isn't me. I am the will of God. And what I am is beyond this physical body. You are the will of love. You are the will of God. And so you are beyond the physical body. You are beyond the physical body. You are more than the physical body. Now, what is God? Who is God? What is God? God is what gave you life. The Creator gave you life. Your life came from the Creator. And so your very life is the will of God. God wills you live. That's why you are sitting. That's why you have life. Earl, the only reason why you have life is because God gives you life. God is the life. God is the life that's giving you life. The life that you are experiencing as life is your God life. Life is God. God is life. So one of the things that I'm working on right now in my present level of spiritual awakening is my inner guide, the Holy Spirit, was telling me, well, you know, Earl, in this part of your personal awakening, what you're going to do is you're going to learn how to show up in each moment. Okay, I am back. Okay, mighty companions, I meant to tell you, sometimes if the internet connection goes out, just stay put, stay exactly where you are, and usually within 2 or 3 minutes or less, I come back online. So if the broadcast is interrupted, just hang in there. Just breathe, think about what I just said, and hang in there. Because something. This is a very challenging section to go over through A Course of Love tonight, because I realize that when you talk about Christ and you talk about Jesus and you say anything that might trigger any of the programming that we got or the misperceptions that we got about God and Christ and Jesus as children, because some of us were taught to do it in a very fearful way, it's an immediate turnoff. I know that there are some people, as soon as I say Jesus or as soon as I say Christ, they're out of here. And and I understand that, because I used to be that way also, until I realized that what I was getting upset about was my interpretation of those words like Jesus and Christ. It wasn't like Jesus and Christ was actually doing anything to me. It was just triggering the interpretations and learnings that I had from the past. So I realized that a section like this is always giving me an opportunity to go beyond those blocks. So God is the giver of life. So let's get the abstractness out of God, okay? When I say God, I'm talking about that infinite intelligence, that life that's living through you. God, you are God manifesting as you. So it says, but with my resurrection, which was accomplished for all, the meaning of life, the reality of life changed, though you have not known it. That means the great experiment in separation ended with the resurrection, but you don't know it. So the resurrection and the life are now one and the same. So Jesus claims that when he resurrected, oh, this is really good tonight. I mean, the ego, just hang in there. If something's going on with the Wi-Fi, if it goes out, it reconnects. I'm sorry about that, but that's what's happening right now, which means this is a section that's bringing up a little resistance, I think. What do you think? I think it's bringing up some resistance, okay? So let's hear it. So